Hello and welcome to my channel. I thought I would try something different this time and actually present a video tutorial of a pumpkin crochet pattern. Let's get started. You're gonna need orange and green yarn, of course a crochet hook that matches that yarn, and some stuffing. Starting with the green yarn, round 1, we make a magic ring and then crochet 6 single crochet stitches into that magic ring. Now this tutorial is not going to show you how to do the crochet stitches, but it's just going to help you along the different rounds. After making that first round, tighten that magic ring and get on. Prepare yourself for round 2. Now I'm going to add a little piece of differently colored yarn as a stitch marker. You can do your own stitch markers, of course. Now, round 2 and 7, we're going to make the little stem of the pumpkin. So it's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's 6 rounds of 6 single crochet stitches each. Now, speed it up a little bit. At the end, it should look a little bit like this. I'm counting the stitches here. I'm counting the rounds, I should say, here, and I'm very happy with it. So continue on with round 8. We're going to increase each of the stitches, so we end up with 12 stitches in total. So you put 2 single crochet stitches in each previous single stitch of the previous round. So that's the base. We're forming the base of the little stem. Round 9, you're going to do a single crochet stitch and then do an increase. So 2 single crochet stitches into 1 single crochet stitch, and repeat that pattern 6 times. You will end up with about 18 stitches in total. Now round 11 and round 10 and 11, you just crochet 18 stitches around. So that's doable. It's weird to see yourself crochet in high speed, and it should end up looking like this. I'm going to cut the yarn because we're going to switch to orange. There we go. You can always finish a round with a slip stitch if you want to make it a little bit more even. Switching to that orange yarn, looping around the crochet hook, and then starting with round 12, which is 6 times the following: a single crochet, then 3 double crochet stitches in 1 stitch, and then another single crochet, and you repeat that 6 times, which gives you 30 stitches in total. This creates this lovely ridging, and speeding it up again. So weird to see. If you have suggestions for me, since this is the first time I'm doing this, please let me know. You get a little flower at the end, like a little petal formation there, little scallops. And then you continue on with the next round. And I've switched the colored piece of yarn that I'm using as a stitch marker to the green. Round 13, again 6 times repeating the following: 1 single crochet stitch, a double crochet stitch, then 3 double crochet stitches in 1 stitch, another double crochet stitch, and a single crochet stitch. So that would give you 42 stitches in total, and it increases that scalloped feeling at the end of the round. Round 14. 1 single crochet stitch, 2 double crochet stitches, 3 double crochet stitches in 1 stitch, 2 double crochet stitches, a single crochet stitch. Repeat that sequence 6 times, which leaves you with 52 stitches in total and another bigger scalloped area. I do apologize that I'm sort of halfway down the screen doing this. Again, it's and out of focus at some point. This is the first time I'm doing this, and I have a lot to learn. But I hope you get an idea of what your work should look like after certain rounds. So this was round 14. We're preparing ourselves for round 15. Oh, I'm taking photos. I'm not sure why I included this. Round 15. Single crochet stitch, then 3 times a double crochet stitch, then 3 double crochet stitches in one stitch, then 3 double crochet stitches and a single crochet stitch, and repeat the whole sequence 6 times for 66 stitches in total. And the good news is there is no more increase of total crochet stitches than this. So 66 stitches is the maximum crochet stitches we have to do in a single round. So it's already starting to double down a little, making the petals a little more 3D, which is good because they have to sort of bend over and form the 3D pumpkin, obviously. So this is the end of round 15. Round 16, 17, 18 and 19. You repeat a single crochet stitch, then 9 times a double crochet stitch and another single crochet stitch, and the whole sequence repeats 6 times, and again 66 stitches. So you're building up those ridges and in your pumpkin. Very nice. There you go. That's round 16. You can notice that I've removed the piece of yarn as a stitch marker because it's fairly clearly to see where you started because of the scalloping. The scalloping gets deeper and deeper and wider, and so it's pretty easy to see when you have finished your round, at least this to me. Of course, you're very welcome to use your stitch marker, keep using it, but I found it wasn't necessary anymore. It gets a little frumpy from here because it wants to shape into a 3D, there you go, into a 3D mold, but you have to crochet it sort of into 2D. So after the round 19 is finished, you get this. It's lovely and starting to look like a pumpkin. I keep filling with the little yarn ends, but it looks quite nice already. Good. Moving on to round 20. Another 6 repeats of the following: a single crochet stitch, 3 double crochet stitches, and then a double crochet stitch in the next 3. You crochet 3 stitches together using a double crochet stitch, then 3 double crochet stitches and 1 single crochet stitch. So it's you decrease 2 stitches per scallop, and that leaves you with 54 stitches in total. So we're on the decrease now. So we slowly are closing our little pumpkin up. I hope everything's clear. If it isn't, please let me know so I can help you along. Round 21. We're decreasing further. Now we're doing a single crochet stitch, 2 double crochet stitches, and then we we do a decrease of the next 3 stitches using a double crochet stitch. We do 2 double crochet stitches and a single crochet stitch. Repeat that 6 times for 42 stitches in total, and your work should look a little bit like this. Round 22, a single crochet stitch, a double one, decrease 3 stitches with 1 double crochet stitch, another double crochet stitch and a single crochet stitch. Repeat it. Oh, this is going too fast. Please pause it at some point. Round 23, further decrease to 18 stitches. Just pause the thing and wow, I have a lot to learn. Well, that went by a little bit too fast. Round 22 and round 23, so you further decrease the stitches, and then you start stuffing. I usually pull apart the stuffing before I add it. This way I find I get a little more nice, I get a nicer filling. It's not, it's less lumpy and it's more equally distributed. That's the way I do it. you can do your own, and I sort of check how firm it is, and when it's firm enough, I continue on with round 24, which is just crochet around those 18 stitches that were left after round 23. Round 25 then, you decrease even further, a single crochet stitch and then a decrease, so you decrease 2 stitches into 1 single crochet stitch. Do that 6 times and you end up with 12 stitches in total. So now we're slowly closing that little hole. Round 26, decrease 6 times. So you left with with 6 stitches in total. And then it's time to fasten off. And you close the rest of the hole using a tapestry needle. So you sew it closed. That's how I do it usually. You don't need a long end for this, but you can use it a little shorter, but it's easier with a little longer end, I find. So I use a tapestry needle. With a big hole, you can easily push your bigger yarn through, and it has a blunt end, so which is good for me as I'm fairly accident prone. Tend to injure myself somewhat. So this works fine for me. There's different ways of doing this, and I find myself doing it differently every time, so I really can't give you advice for this part. What I usually try to do is firmly make some knots so it doesn't get easily unsecured, easily hang off, and then I push through the whole thing towards the top, so you don't cut it near the base here, but you push your needle through to the top like here, and you push the yarn through, and then you cut it at the top, so it has a little bit of end of yarn inside of your pumpkin. Now the pumpkin part is done. I'm pushing back some filling using my crochet hook, and it looks nice and fluffy and soft. It's quite a flat model, but I really like it. And now we're going to do the leaf. So get that green yarn and put it on your hook, and then we're going to chain 9 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There you go. And then we're going to work the stitches around both sides of this foundation chain, starting in the second chain from the needle. After you've made those 9 chains, we're going to make 7 single crochet stitches, and then in the last one you'd make 3 crochet stitches, single crochet stitches. Then you continue on the other side and you crochet 6 single crochet stitches and then 2 in the last one, so you increase once. In the next row, in row 2, we just make 7 crochet stitches, and then we turn. It gives the first little finger of the leaf. So you start at the bottom of the leaf and you make 7 single crochet stitches. I haven't counted, but I'm probably almost there. 7, I think. No, 7. There you go. Then you turn your work, you chain 2, and then in the third stitch from the hook, which is the first stitch on the leaf itself, you make 1 single crochet stitch, and then you make another 6 single crochet stitches. You increase, that's at the bottom of the leaf, then 1 single crochet stitch and another increase, so you round that bottom of the leaf, and then you add 5 single crochet stitches, and that will make the other side of the finger at the other side of the leaf. It's probably more difficult to explain than to see visually what's going on. Hopefully I show it properly at the end of this row. It's a fairly straightforward process. You just need to count really well. And it really doesn't matter if you miss one stitch or not. It's because it's supposed to be an organic thing. And then we start round 4. Again, in the first stitch, you make a single crochet stitch in the 3rd stitch from the hook. Then you make 6 single crochet stitches, an increase, 2 single crochet stitches, another increase, and then 4 single crochet stitches. And that is supposed to end where the 2nd finger of the leaf is supposed to come. So the increase you increase around the bottom of the leaf, and then you crochet towards that 2nd finger. I seem to be slipping down and down and down in frame. I will have to take that into account next time I'm trying to do it. But you know, this is the first time I'm doing this. I think I'm counting now. I've lost my count or something. I have a lot to learn, and I would appreciate some positive feedback, just even if it's something you didn't like. But tell me nicely, you know. Tell me nicely so I can be motivated to change. At the end of that row, you chain 2 again, and then 1 single crochet stitch in the 3rd stitch from hook. That is again at the base of the leaf, at the leaf itself, and then you just do 13 single crochet stitches, and that will bring you right to the other side of the leaf for that last finger. I know I hold my yarn in a very strange way. There's different ways of doing things, and this just works for me. I do end up with quite a crampy finger at the end of this. But you can see this this row brings you right to the next finger. Then the last row, row 6. Again, you chain 2, you turn your work, and then you make 1 single crochet stitch in the 3rd stitch from the hook, and you make 6 single crochet stitches, which brings you back to the bottom of the leaf, and there you can fasten off. It's important to know when you're going to fasten off, so this is to leave a long yarn tail, because you're going to need it not just to sew the leaf to the pumpkin, but also to make a nice little frilly, twirly, pumpkin-y thing. You know, pumpkin plants make all sorts of nice extensions to be able to grow. There you go. You fasten off and you leave a fairly long yarn tail for sewing. You have to be able to do at least 20 chains with that little tail. Now, the little top bit you can weave in. And what I usually do, use my tapestry needle again, and I search for a nice place I can just sew through the stitches like I do here. And I do like 5 or 6 stitches. Then I pull it through the yarn, and then I skip a stitch, so you don't undo your own work. You skip a stitch, so it goes around that last stitch, and then you just go back. This is how I do it. I'm not sure it's the most secure thing, but for an item like this that doesn't have a lot of wear and tear, it works fine. And then you just cut off the little yarn bit, massive scissors for this little task, and the top part is gone. Now you have the long end or yarn. You just sew it to your pumpkin. What I have chosen to do it is to sew it fairly close to the thinner part of the stem. I don't know if that is realistic, but I liked it there. You can also choose to sew it at the where the green meets the orange, but I've chosen to sew it at the base of the thin end of the stem. There you go. Here you can see me do that. It's fascinating, isn't it? So the nice part is that you're going to use the rest of this end of this yarn tail to make this frilly, twirly bit. So you don't fasten off. You just take away your tapestry needle and you switch it to your crochet needle. And the best thing is to to find, with the final stitch, find the spot where you want your twirly bits to start. So you push in your crochet needle and then you yarn over with the bit that was left. Oh yeah, I'm not doing a very good job here, but you get the idea. And then you have your first loop around, and then you can chain 20 stitches or more or less, whatever you want. And then you give them a little twirl, and that's it, really. Yeah. So you can choose to weave in that end as well. I've chosen not to, again, because the I'm such a clumsy mums. Look at this. And I'm slowly disappearing from frame with this action. Oh boy. There's so much to learn doing this. I hope you're doing a better job than I am. So by the time you've reached that 20, you just pull it through and you secure it a little bit, and then I just snip up the end. You can choose to to sort of secure it, but I chosen not to. And then you have to twirl it a bit. I just turn it around in my hand. There we go. Congratulations, your pumpkin is finished. So here's some finished photos. You see the twirly bit, you see the leaf attached to the thin part of the stem, you see the nice and bulky flesh of the pumpkin, and that's it. That's your pumpkin's finished. I hope you had a great time, and I'll hope to see you soon. And of course, I wish you happy crocheting.